Hello, I'm Jim Riley, and welcome to All the Right Connections. My guest today, of course, James Reynolds, President of Mid-Hudson Cablevision.
Happy New Year, Jim.
Happy New Year to you, and thanks for taking time with us, James. We appreciate that. Tell us a little bit about what's going on. We're into the new year. What are some of the things you're dealing with?
Well, we ended the last year with a bunch of discussions with programmers and broadcast stations, really trying to do our best to try to hold the line on pricing, because every year towards the end of the year there are negotiations relative to the pricing of programming, and it's become a big concern. So that challenge has spilled over into 2012,
Right.
and we're really focused on the whole issue of the pricing, and we do everything that we can to package and to try to discount, but it's really a lot of pressure from the programming sources with raising the rates.
I think, and it sounds silly, but I think we just have to say it outright so people understand it. You don't just have services that you sell and make a profit on. In order to have those services, you have to pay fees.
That's correct.
To the programmers. I think very often that's just something that people can conveniently forget about, but it's really a very important issue.
And those fees are passed on to the subscribers.
Right.
Because a lot of the programming has become, it's very good, and of course you have the network specials that everybody wants to see,
right, or
a lot of people do, and you have sports programming, which
is a cornerstone for anybody.
Absolutely. The old saying used to be that in the cable business that it's movies and sports that really drive the bus.
Right.
And that's true, but now we're in a new era where professional athletes are being paid fortunes to perform, and you can't really blame them, because if one guy does a big contract and you're having a great year, then you want a big contract.
Right.
But it puts a challenge on us, because we can't establish a special tier like you would for pay services or something, right, like that. So that if you wanted the sports programming and you were willing to pay for it, we could just deliver it to you. It has to be across all basic customers.
Right.
And there's a lot of publicity in the media right now about negotiations,
right, for
programming, and how the increases are so staggering compared to what the consumer price index is.
Right.
With very, very little inflation and very little very low interest rate environment, you've got increases in the cost of programming that are just unimaginable.
Right. So, and again, I was going to say unreasonable, but we don't want to be too harsh about that. But the fact is, if you don't do this work on behalf of the subscribers, it's hard for you to protect them and their costs as they relate to these services that you provide.
Yeah, there's already been dialogue on the national level relative to a la carte pricing, where consumers would have the ability to pick and choose from a menu of services and decide whether they want to pay for sports programming.
Right.
So for an example, and yet that model just will not work, because if you were to take just the group of subscribers that are willing to pay for different sporting, right, events, that wouldn't be enough revenue.
No, it wouldn't be feasible
to satisfy the demand. So we're working with all of the programmers, not just the sports programmers, but and the broadcasters too, because we understand that despite the rise in pricing, people want the programming.
They absolutely insist on the programming.
We're on the verge of the championship games for the National Football League, and then on to the Super Bowl.
And you know what that means, yeah.
Exciting time of year, and so we're doing our best, and we just want to make sure that people understand that it's a challenge because these increases are so dramatic.
And it's very hard to keep a balance and protect the subscriber.
It is.
Let's move to another one now. You wanted to talk about the phone service and some issues you were dealing with there. Tell us a little bit about that,
Yeah,
James.
last year we spent, probably the first half of the year looking at ways to improve the phone system because, it's one of those problems that it's very difficult to manage because you can have a lot of people available to answer phones, but if the service goes out, if the internet goes down, our phones light up. And so we've gone to a system, an automated system that has voice recognition.
Right.
And the advantage of that system is that if you just want to call up and find out what your balance of your account is,
You won't have to go through a maze.
or if you want to just pay with a credit card,
right.
you can do that
Very
automated,
simple task,
very
yeah.
quickly, no waiting, and then meanwhile the customer service representatives, if somebody has a more complicated
Can
problem,
deal with those issues.
they can talk with that.
Right.
So it's supposed to balance the load of or volume of calling. Unfortunately, the system that we got, the voice recognition part of it, was not functioning properly.
Right.
And we know that a lot of people had experiences where they tried to communicate with the automated system and it wasn't listening,
Yeah.
or wasn't getting it. So we've turned that function off for the time being, and we're going back to look at ways to implement the system so that, our goals are always to answer people's calls promptly and to direct the calls to the proper department so that
Right.
they can solve the problem efficiently. And we just want customers to know that, we understood that the phone problems with the phone system were frustrating, and it's on our top priority list to fix, and we will get it right.
Well, the reason why I know that's true is that the hallmark of your company and of you personally is service to the customer.
Well, it's really a simple approach. I mean, if you listen to your customers, if they're happy, they're going to tell you what you're doing right. If they're unhappy, they're going to tell you what you're doing wrong. And the things that you're doing wrong, you have to fix.
You got to fix them. Let's move now, because we've got another thing that you're very happy about, and that's, I hate to be too techie, but wireless router. Tell us what that is. You now have it available, and what it provides your subscribers.
Well, as technology evolves, they start, combining and, making, improvements in the technology. So whereas a customer before that had internet access with us and a cable modem, you'd have to plug your computer into that cable modem and you'd have a good experience. But more and more people don't want to be plugged in or tethered to a specific location. Right. They want to walk into the living room. They want to go into the kitchen. All of these tablet computers that are very popular now, and iPads. You want to be able to be wireless.
Right.
You don't want to...
Freedom.
Yeah, it's the same thing with, say, the DVR. If you have a favorite show, you don't want to have to plan your day around that so that you have to sit down right as it's on. You time shift that programming to fit your schedule.
Right.
Same thing with the wireless router. We now have a modem and a wireless router combined that we can install for people. Once that's in place, then and you have it configured, you can use your laptop in another room. You can take your tablet computer and move around your home, and it makes it very convenient and provides a quality experience throughout the entire house.
Right, because all of those devices, the pad and those different devices, all operate through a modem, but now they won't have to be plugged to it. They can just take that and be free to move around and use it the way they like.
That's right, and a lot of the smartphones too need a Wi-Fi environment to run certain applications.
Right.
And if you're upstairs in your bedroom with your iPhone and you're trying to get online and do something and you don't have a a signal, then you can't do it. So,
Right. But with that, you can.
yeah, so it's just an extension of technology, and we're trying to introduce new things that will add convenience and value to the entire experience.
What I like about it is being a technology person. I think of you as a captain of technology. Whatever improvements you make in your own individual experience, it translates for your subscribers. I think that's a big plus for you.
Right. Well, I think as you watch the evolution here, you're really seeing us move from a time when the broadcasters or the content providers, whoever they are, dictated the rules
Right.
on the customer experience. Now the tables are turned.
Right.
In other words, the content providers have content right there, but now in a digital world, the consumer can say, you know, I want that content, but I don't want it right now.
Right.
I want it later on. And by the way, I'm going to be traveling, so I want
So I
that
want it on this
content
side,
on this
over here.
on this
Yeah.
device, and it's just all about convenience and you know, quality experience.
And you've been talking about that for a long time. So
Right.
it kind of, you saw where this was going.
Sure.
And now this is a big part of that technology that gives
That's
you
right.
that kind of freedom. That's
right.
great. What do you want to finish with? We covered some different topics. What do you think?
It's the beginning of a new year.
Yeah.
And so it's a time for, you know, setting goals and, you know, charting a path. And that's what we're doing right now. And we're looking towards, you know, new innovations. We talked last month about this exciting new technology, Internet Protocol Television,
Yep.
IPTV. It's you know, abbreviated, and we're working on that. And you know, that's a technology that'll allow you to, you know, take your programming from, you know, whatever services you subscribe to, and put them on an iPad, put them on your phone. They call it 3 screens: your TV, your computer, or your smartphone.
Right.
And so we think that that's a very exciting, and again, it plays into this theme of subscriber or customer convenience and a quality experience.
What I
So
like about it is Mid-Hudson
that's-
Cablevision on your TV, on your iPad, on your phone. I just think that's a wonderful opportunity for the subscriber.
Yeah, the one thing about this business is that you don't, you know, rebuild your system and put new electronics up at our central location and you're done. Because as soon as you do that, there's a new innovation that you have to follow
Right.
and you have to deliver. And customers want that. So
They very much want, in fact, they insist on it, don't they?
yeah, so we're on that path.
That's great. James, thanks for taking the time with us today.
Thank
know
you,
how much
Jim.
we appreciate that. And again, Happy New Year to you.
Same to you, Jim.
All right. We'll be right back after a few messages.
We know our customers depend on us in the evening, on the weekends, on holidays, and we do know that the services that we provide are very important in the lives of our customers, and we take that very seriously. We want to deliver the highest quality of service 24/7.
Welcome back. Our community segment today, the Bank of Greene County. We're going to feature the Bank of Greene County. We've got Perry Lasher. Give me your title.
Vice President, Commercial Lending.
I knew I couldn't get that one. Martha Keeler, dear friend of ours, your title.
Marketing Director.
And we have the king of the bank. We don't call him king. The president, Don Gibson. Thanks so much for coming today. We appreciate it very, very much. Bank of Greene County is our bank, my bank certainly. What makes you the community bank?
I think what really makes us a community bank is our local focus. We're the only local bank with offices in Greene, Columbia, and Albany counties. All of our employees, all of our directors, we work here, we live here. You know, we go to the local schools, the local town meetings. We're really focused on the community, and 100% of our efforts are focused in this area.
Now, I will say that I want to share this with the folks. Maybe we'll talk a little more about it later, but also I'm with the Kiwanis Club, and we work with the bank on a lot of community projects. That's a very important thing for the bank, isn't it?
Yes, very important. I know the Kiwanis Club does a lot of terrific projects. we're always happy to get involved with the local community organizations. You know, part of the community organization's need is dedication of time, and we have a lot of employees that are involved in the Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club, Chambers of Commerce. They do a wonderful job.
That they do. Martha, we have to get something out of you. We made you come over here this morning. I was telling Don before we went on the air, one of the things I like is how you made things specific to the areas that you live in with the architecture. Tell us a little bit about that when you built the buildings.
Oh, yeah, we have a lot of different buildings that we've worked with and built with Kevin Berry, and depending on the area that we're going into, in Coxsackie, we did kind of a colonial style. In Catskill Commons, it's more of a contemporary style.
Right, and it fits that mall setup.
Fits the mall. Yeah, so we've done a lot of different things in different areas. Chatham, Germantown, same kind of things. We look at the different architecture.
You said 12?
We have 12 branches.
12 branches plus the administrative office, which is on Main Street in Catskill.
Yes.
Right, Don? Yeah. Now, Perry, we got to get something out of you.
Okay. I figured that was coming.
Yeah. Well, give us something. I'm going to let you back. Let's see. How about you want to do a little on charitable foundation? Just tell us a little bit about that.
Actually, you know what? Don's better with the charitable foundation. I'll jump back in when we talk about the
That's good, Perry.
Storm Irene stuff.
Well, let's do that, because I want to talk about a foundation because we benefit through Kiwanis.
Okay.
So I kind of jumped out.
Right.
Do that.
As everyone who lives and works in this area is painfully aware, in August we were all hit pretty hard with Tropical Storm Irene. That was I think Sunday was the brunt of the storm. Monday, thankfully, majority of our offices were up and running. Thanks in part to you folks here at Mid-Hudson, shameless plug.
Right. Yeah, we'll take that.
Yeah,
Really. But it's true that you got up and running right away, which is terribly important. You can't stop business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what that allowed us to do is immediately folks from our mortgage department grabbed all the files of people that we knew were in flood zones, started reaching out to those folks, reassuring them they had flood insurance, through their mortgage in the bank, contacting them, giving the insurance company information, getting that process started, because that process, unfortunately, can be a painfully slow one.
Right. So you want to get on that right away and get them up and running.
Exactly.
It's terribly important to keep providing services in a situation like that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday of that week, as we started getting the flood of phone calls, I remember one specifically, customer said they got a hold of the insurance company, and the company said, well, it's probably going to be 2-3 weeks before an adjuster can even get to your site to look at it, because there's only 5 adjusters and there's 200 places they got to get to.
Right.
So Don and the senior management team said, look, we got to get in this thing, we got to help a little bit. So that afternoon, Don pledged $2.5 million in low interest loans to help businesses that were affected, whether they were customers of ours or not.
Right.
We hope future customers they'd become, but
right.
They didn't have to be to start with.
Right. But that's community service, Don. That's really what we're talking about. And that's why the bank is really not only local, but you think local.
I think we're fortunate to be able to focus on that. When we talk about what's the most valuable asset that the bank has, a lot of mega banks may talk about their balance sheet, their investment portfolio, their loans, their deposit accounts. That's all important, but we really think our most valuable asset is our local employees and directors. We focus on the community, and I think that what really makes us special.
Yeah, I think that's terribly important to remember that, because if you don't, if you're separate from the community, you're really not going to provide the best service.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just to build on
Go
that,
ahead,
because we
Martha.
were talking about the Irene assistance.
Yeah.
We had a campaign recently during the holidays, the Snowflake campaign, where we would sell a snowflake for $1 for anybody that wanted to buy one, and then the bank was going to match up to a certain point. And we received, I think, over $7,000 in donations from a lot of people, organizations, and the bank is going to donate $10,000. So it's all going to community action, which will then help all the Irene victims, Irene help assistance.
Yeah. What I like about that, Martha, was, and this is the generosity of the bank was only supposed to match what was raised. But you said, look, we can't do that. You've got $7,000, that's great, but we're still going to do $10,000.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, that's really something that I think the public knows. But I think we need to remind ourselves that the bank is really there to serve. You take that very seriously, don't you, Don?
We do, and we were thrilled by the support. We sold snowflakes during the holiday through all the branches. We also had nice donation from the Columbia County Sportsman Federation.
And the Kiwanis.
And the Kiwanis Club of Catskill, and also the Catskill School. Pat Hernandez and Dr. Farrell did a great job in organizing the campaign, and it all compounded, and for the donation, for us to be able to put in $10,000, that was the biggest single donation we've ever done.
Right.
And we combined it with, what was it, Martha, another $7,500 from the community.
Yeah.
We're hoping it helps.
And it's what I like is the spirit of generosity. When you talk about corporations or banks, you don't normally think in those terms, but it's really true. And the bank has always been like that. That's something you must be very proud of.
Well, thank you. And you know, Bruce Whitaker, who is our retired president and still on our board, he really set the precedent. His #1 focus has always been the community, and you know, do the right thing for the community, and the community will support you. You know, he's still with our bank, and he's on the board. I worked with Bruce for 20 years until he retired, and you know, I've been president and CEO for the last 5.
Right.
And I always have that in the back of my mind that we want to continue to focus and help the community.
Okay. Now, Martha, even though the president's going to speak to it, let's just talk about, and I'll start you with the charitable foundation. The foundation does a lot in the community, does it not?
It does do a lot within the community. It serves any of the areas that we are in. We have a grant request usually between December and January 15th of each year, and January 15th just came, so we have a ton of grant requests that have been coming in.
Right.
And then we start looking at them and dispersing them in a few months, and we do a lot within so many different organizations and nonprofits within the county areas.
That's fabulous. And that's a historical part of the bank as well, the whole
Yes.
notion of that foundation.
The foundation, we actually implemented that or started it in January of 1999.
Right.
So we have, you know, I guess about 12 years now that the foundation's been in place. What's nice about the foundation is a perpetual foundation. So the foundation is set up to continue forever. We've been able to donate since 1999 about $600,000 to the community.
That's significant.
And our goal is to continue forever. We never want that to end. We always want to be able to contribute to the community.
Well, you know, I like Martha, because I don't want to fawn on the president. But he takes calls, Martha, when, you know, aside from the foundation, there are things that the bank does on a regular basis to help. And I know we've called from the community, and the bank is always there to help. That's something you must be very proud of.
Oh yes, it's wonderful. And you know, we're all very reachable. You can call any of us, and we are all involved in the community, most of us, all the employees that are there. So yeah, it's a great bank to work with that.
Yeah, it really is. All right, what have I missed? Have I missed anything you want to talk about? What do we have? Well, we got Don, we got him, Hometown Bank. How about you, Perry? We haven't anything for you.
No, well, we touched a little bit on the Irene stuff. Just to take that story a couple steps further.
Yeah.
That Wednesday of that week, Steve Nelson, who's our chief lending officer, and I decided to set out and kind of spread word about the low interest loan program on foot, knowing that still parts of Wyndham they didn't have power, they didn't have telephone.
Right.
So thankfully, the National Guard let us in.
Yeah.
We got out, walked up and down Main Street in Wyndham, and I'll tell you, it's one thing to see it on TV. It's another thing to walk up and down Main Street and see the people affected, see that community spirit, everybody working together, strangers just pouring into town just to help anybody who needed help.
Yeah.
So you know, we walked up and down the street. We remember one touching story. We dealt with this one couple who owned a small grocery store, a restaurant, and they lived above it. You know, recounting how the building was vibrating as they were trapped in the building, fearful that the building was going to wash away. And then, you know, Steve at that point said, "All right, I'm going to be back tomorrow with a check for your, you know, low interest loan program. We'll help you through this." And quite frankly, I think we all shed a few tears that time. So you know, that's the kind of thing that makes it all worth. You know, I mean, it's great to work for the bank, great place to work, and that type of stuff just brings it all home for you.
Yeah, and I know, Martha, you feel that way as director of marketing. It's not about selling the bank, it's about reminding people that the bank is the community.
Yeah, and you know, we have so many different things that we like to do, and of course I'm the marketing director, so I tell everybody I have like the funnest job in the bank. But we, you know, Don's great at it. We come up with a lot of different ideas. We've got a couple of different programs. One of them is our fast finish mortgage, where we created a mortgage that you can pay off in 10 years or less, and it's got a great rate, and we give out an iPad when you close, and that's been very exciting. And you know, just to let you know, we do keep all our loans smartphones in-house. We don't sell them. So that's very big in the community. That's very important to people.
Right.
We've got our Visa Rewards program. We give rewards when you use your debit card, and a lot of the big banks aren't doing that anymore because the fee structures have all changed. So that's kind of a neat offer that we present to our customers.
Yeah.
A few other things, we've got our mobile banking that we're working on. We're working on our apps for our smartphones and text banking and web banking, and of course I should mention Facebook because we're into Facebook now.
Yeah,
And
that's
we're,
true.
if
That
you
is
like
true.
us on the bank's Facebook page, you'd be entered to win an iPod Touch. So we got a couple of different things that we're working on, and it's always different and exciting.
Yeah, I think it's very important to let people know that the bank is keeping pace with the change in technology and then making those opportunities available to customers. I think that's very important. Great.
I think one of the biggest changes I've seen in the 25 years I've been in banking really is on the technology side. To give you an example, when I started a checking account 25 years ago, basically you had a paper statement and you had checks. Technology has really added a lot of convenience for the consumer in that now you have online bill pay, you have internet banking. About 90% of our new customer accounts are electronic statement, which is not only quicker to get, but it's also green and it's more beneficial to the environment.
Yeah.
And like Martha had said, the mobile banking, within the next month or so, we're going to have specific applications for smartphones. And the one I really like is I'm hooked on the Apple iPhone.
Right.
And we're going to have our own, it's going to be green mobile, and it's going to be an application on the Apple Store. It's going to be free to download. And any smartphone from Apple, it'll have a specific application that's designed specifically for your phone.
Great. Now, Martha, we're missing something here. You said you had a guest. You had a
Yes.
new program that's
Yes.
associated with.
We had a
Tell
little
us
fun
about
last
that.
year. We decided that the bank needed a mascot. So we had a few things on the drawing board, and we came up with Penny the Pig, which we thought was kind of cool. And of course, Penny's green with the Bank of Greene County, and it was a little hard to find a green costume. But we do have somebody that we want to introduce here. We're going to want Penny the Pig to come out and meet you. And Penny's been busy with school projects. We've got some student savings projects that we're working on, visiting schools, visiting chamber events, softball games. The bank has a softball team, so Penny's been to the softball game.
Penny motivated us to make the playoffs.
Quite the social calendar.
To the miracle of television, Penny the Pig. Penny, you must be terribly excited to have joined the Bank of Greene County. Right? Yeah. See, Don, we didn't step that up at all, Don. We don't want you to think that. Tell us again the connection with those savings programs for students. Penny the Pig.
What we want to do, or part of being a community bank, is we've really emphasized over the last couple of years the student savings accounts. We really want to teach our young people how to save money. People think it comes naturally, but if nobody teaches you how to save, weekly or biweekly or monthly, you don't know how to do it. We have almost 3,000 student savings accounts. We do student savings accounts in general. We have 4 local schools. We have Caro Durham School, we have Hunter Tannersville, we have Ichabod Crane, and we have the Hudson School that we do the student savings programs in conjunction with their PTAs. And what we want to do is we want to make savings fun and also at the same time, teach a lesson. So we thought with Penny's help, we could really teach the young people how to save money.
I think they need to have a pal in savings.
Penny's a lot of fun, aren't you, Penny?
They got the right pal and Penny the Pig to do the savings. Penny, we very much appreciate you joining us today. Thanks so very much. And thank you for joining the Bank of Greene County. I think that's terribly important. So, last words, Don. What do you want to say to the public?
Last one, I forgot, we have one other school. We have our newest office that we opened in Germantown about this time last year. And we have Germantown School as one of our schools. And if I just, in closing, would want to say anything, I'd just like to thank the community for all their support. We really appreciate it.
We want to thank our guests today, Penny the Pig, Martha Keeler, Director of Marketing for the bank, Don Gibson, President of the Bank of Greene County, and my old friend Perry Lasher, who is?
Our Vice President of Commercial Lending.
Thanks, I appreciate you bailing me out on that. Also, we want to thank James Reynolds, President of Mid-Hudson Cablevision, for joining us today. We also look forward to seeing you again real soon on All the Right Connections.